RaiderFan Radio. Yeah, all that. On a young Sunday morning, early on the West Coast, Las Vegas to be exact. And yeah, this is the original. Because we are the original RaiderFan Radio. Not the pretenders, but the original.
Right.
Established 2002. And this is the first ever original Raider Nation banner. Ever. We'll get back to this on show 54. But for now, it is the RaiderFan Radio Week 5. Hold on, man. We got to play the tune.
Yeah.
You know how we get down.
What are we doing?
Yeah, we got to get
Let's
down.
see here. There we go.
We get down.
All right. Sound and all.
And all. Anyway, again, top of the Sunday morning to all you out there in the Raider Nation. All right. Hope you're doing well. Despite the, 1-3 record? Are we 1-3?
Yeah.
RaiderHater Rob in the house. The beautiful black hole Stef. Thank you.
Good morning.
Early. Good morning on a Sunday here in the desert to come join us for this quick little check-in with y'all, man. We've been gone for a minute. Sorry about that, but we encourage you to continue to like, share, and subscribe. We're veterans in this game, so we take a little time off, in between, even during the season, because we've been putting it down for 22 years. You know what I'm saying? And for the most part, it's been the same results.
Yeah, we pretty much said the same thing over the course, at least definitely the last 15 years. But we've been saying the same thing when it comes to our team. And you can go back and look at all of our content. There's plenty of content to get you caught up. Always go back and see that, because that's the history and documenting everything that's happened over the last 22 years, even some of our classic shows that we do have online as well. So that's a playlist you can check into. Get into it and feel it.
When it comes to this season, and particularly the last few seasons, you can get into that, go back and archive it, particularly started this season 4 weeks ago. We kind of, I have a reputation for calling it, but all three of us call it collectively on this show. And collectively, when it comes to the brain trust of us as the fans, we are plugging into the Raiders, knowing this team, knowing the culture, knowing the attitude, and just knowing the NFL, period. And what pieces you need to be successful in this league, and what the Raiders pieces aren't doing, because we're not going to fucking blowhard you. We're not going to friggin' sit up here sugarcoat shit. We Gen X, man. Okay, got no time to lie and cry. We're going to keep it real. All right, so the bottom line is we knew we'd be here 4 weeks ago. Now I've taken on the RaiderHater Rob persona, all right, and whether I'm Raider Rob or RaiderHater Rob, the results are the same. Okay, and we knew that we would be here. So y'all have caught up to us. We were already at week 5, and that wasn't to be disparaging, but looking collectively at what the team is made up of, bringing back a retread coach like Pete Carroll, who's a friggin' sellout when it comes to getting you to the big game. All right, we saw him do that against the Patriots. I mean, like I said, no sugarcoating here, man. Facts, as the kids saying now. Facts. All right, these are facts. These are facts, and we called these facts 4 weeks ago. Geno Smith. Now, I just want to say this, because we had a couple of years ago a fine Italian quarterback named Jimmy Garoppolo.
Right, another...
a Maserati in waiting at quarterback, okay? And we got a new Italian quarterback. Yes. Hannibal went all through. The Sicilians be trying to downplay it, but, they long and schlong like us black moms. Okay, so let's stop it. And they sexy like us, you know what I'm saying? They're us, but they downplay it down there in Napoli and, Palermo. But the bottom line is we have a black Italian quarterback. And his name is Geno Interceptor. Okay? And this was unfortunately what kind of thought might happen with Geno. The inconsistency, the will is there, but the execution isn't. And again, Pete Carroll, bringing in Geno Smith, Jamal Adams, we're the Raider Hawks, just like we were Patriots a couple years ago. Incorporating these identities and bringing in these players who, are not in the best years, let's say, or the best, position for what we need competing in the AFC West when you see what other teams are doing. And so, on this Week 5 Sunday, man, Gino Intercepto, this is not a path to winning. It's just not. Sorry, simple.
Yeah, and you mentioned it before that this is a situation where, looking at the league, they have gotten younger.
The coffee of champions. Good morning to all of you who had your Starbucks and your what's the other one? Coffee bean and tea leaf. You've been standing out there, Dutch brothers and all that. Here's the coffee of the brothers, particularly in the Raider parking lot back in the day. Hennessy for the head, baby.
First thing in the morning. Yeah, like you were mentioning, we were talking about just the league that's not the trend of the league. The Raiders are not on trend with the league, and the Raiders typically are
on trend with themselves.
Trendsetters that will go after talent that yes, back in the day might have been not, you thought that they were past their greatest years, and then we were able to turn them around. This is not that situation. The league is younger in quarterback, and we had opportunity to do that.
We had opportunity. Speaking of young quarterbacks, shout out to Stoner Dude. Of course, he's not here. This is the RaiderFan Radio Week 5 live check-in show. Stone is on assignment. Got a lot of things going on with his band. Shout out to Fox, and of course, long-standing band with Mutt, Brother Mutt, and all that. So he's doing a lot of things here in Vegas. He'll be back with show 54. But we are representing Stone in the house. He's up here, posted in the picture. And he's also here in spirit when it comes to what you're talking about, young quarterbacks. Stone being the quarterback whisperer that he is, 2 quarterbacks he's been talking about the last couple of years along that line of young quarterbacks and teams looking to the future of their future. Stone called it on Dylan Gabriel, the whole, preseason drama that was going on out in Cleveland with Shador Sanders and Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, Deshaun Watson's in purgatory out there, off of his problems that he's had out there. But today, over in London, as we speak, it's third quarter, Dylan Gabriel started for the Browns, and from what I've seen a little bit of, he's playing well, he's not effing up, but that's an example of a young, really not highly talented, young player getting his opportunity.
You got to throw him in there and get him started, because you can't rely on these old-ass quarterbacks, forever.
But Geno Smith isn't really old. It's just that he's not serviceable for what we're trying to do or should be trying to do, like these other teams are doing.
Yeah.
Let's get back to that by osmosis and a lot of other things, and the unfortunate, I guess for them, sudden injury to Derek Carr that had him have to retire last year. The New Orleans Saints starting Spencer Rattler this season. Not doing too well, but there's another guy that knows. What did Stone call him?
An even lighter skinned Patrick Mahomes, I think is what that was.
Well, yeah, we're quoting, still paraphrasing, but I think it was like a lighter Mahomes. Anyway, he's been starting quarterback out of Cincinnati or Oklahoma, I think it was. He's starting for the Saints. Like I said, Saints are 0-4, but they 1-4. It might be 1-4, 0-4. I'm not keeping up, folks, because the National Football League, it doesn't excite me anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's like looking at old porn magazines when you've got, ex-Hampton. I mean, good night, man. Anyway, but that's another problem. And so, along the lines where you were at too, my boy Jackson Dart, all the quarterbacks that I've called, as far as the Raiders should have pursued type scenario last 5 years, they're all active today and could have been in the silver black for your Las Vegas Raiders today. Trevor Lawrence will play tomorrow night, my boy, the Blonde Bomber, against Kansas City on Monday Night Football. He's active. Jaguars look promising so far, You've got my boy Jackson Dart more recently, who I was talking about 2 years ago, before y'all even had him as a dart on your quarterback board.
Right.
Don't lie. Don't. You didn't know. You didn't know. You didn't know who he was. Ole Miss. Anyway, he starts today for the Giants.
Yeah.
You know, okay? Justin Herbert, we could have potentially had. Yeah. J.J. McCarthy is in London going up against Dylan Gabriel. Okay? Young. Youth. Right. You know, but teams taking chances. Taking risks to change their identity, to change the prospects of their team with young quarterbacks. Youth is king, right? Youth is king. Okay. But not for the Las Vegas Raiders. It's not. You know, it's not. They are still. And Bo Nix with Denver. He was playing Philadelphia. That's right. Yeah. Bo Nix too. Go ahead. Just the same, you know, rinse and repeat situation. Interesting. Rinse and repeat. Here we are with Pete Carroll. You know, we know what happened in Seattle and how that ended up. So, you know, not much to look forward to. And then his son, who apparently is the, you know, O-line coach, you know, that's creating some problems as well, you know, for the Raiders and some of its players that are on the offensive line that should be starting. And this is just a conflict. Imbalance. And big imbalance. Speaking of those Raiders, they will be playing here in a moment. 10 o'clock. Good morning again to all of you worldwide, nationwide, Raider Nation, wherever you are, man. Thanks for checking in. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification, the bell, ding, 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 so you can get notified when we do shows. To our long-standing fans, y'all know the process. Sometimes we go away. We're all out here active, doing our thing in LA. I mean, Las Vegas. But, you know, the main thing, truthfully, is not inspired by this team. They're not our inspiring team. They're not exciting. Okay, it's mediocre football. And again, I'm not going to sugarcoat shit for you. And as it relates today in Indianapolis, 1-3 Raiders going into play, a revitalized Colt team to some extent. They had some issues last year. They've been kind of iffy at quarterback with Anthony Richardson, you know, so they brought in Daniel, the Duke of Dullness, Jones, from the New York Giants, and he's kind of reached the active sense of his expectations, or the expectation that the Giants had from when they drafted him a couple of years ago. He's starting to reach that performance level that was expected of him, that the media touted that he would have. And so he has got the Colts at 3-1, playing at home today against the Raiders, who are, you know, not a team that's, you know, beaten. They've been in games. They're not woeful, you know, but they're not exciting. You know, Pete Carroll's imagination is similar to Norm Turner's and Dennis Allen's and some other past coaches that we had to witness here with the Raiders the last 10 years. 3rd and long, little 5-yard pass, dump pass, and it's 3rd and 17. 2nd and 6, try to force it down the middle, you know, with an average back, in our case with Genty, but there's no push up front. These simple ass, you know, 3-man spreads for passing game. You know, no 5 wide, no trips left, no trips, you know, very rare, no reverses, no, again, I've been harping on this shit since we've been doing this show. Imagination, offensive, creativity. You got a young Ashton Gentry, and I also harp with Gen Xers, and me particularly, harp on the fact that we've lost our identity when it comes to the game scheming and the play calling that have been indicative. Oh, sorry. No, I'm just saying that goes back to Lane Kiffin. That was all these coaches that have come in have all tried to do, you know, something else other than Raider football, and so we have ended up in this situation. Part of Raider football, when you've got a talented back like a Ashton Gentry, who is a premier young back, you run our sweep. Right. You get a guy with that type of speed, balance, and vision, power, and the open field. That's what you want him. You want him on pitches, tailback pitches, but most importantly for us when it comes to offensive line, pull the guard, pull the tackle, Art Shell, Gene Upshaw, Dave Dalton, you know, pull the center. Everybody's going left. Everybody's going right. Powerhouse sweep. Right. Okay? Right. To tie it in. Right. So that's 4 blockers going downhill. Okay? With a back like Genty behind him. Where is that, Pete? Yeah. Sticky B! Talking to you. Where is that? Where is that? And where are you Raider fans on social media? Since they listen to you, remember y'all wanted Antonio Pierce? Then y'all wanted him fired, and then they fired him. Where's your presence, man? In picking up on these things and pushing this shit out in the public that this team is not representative of what you, even you young Gen Z fans, young millennial fans, were told the Raiders were. Which some of you have seen.
You even know what the Raiders were because you're so accepting of the mediocrity. And, you know, like you mentioned the sweep, you have JPJ.
JPJ, shout out, baby.
I mean, that's a great
player.
Jackson
Powers Johnson, man.
He's a great player.
He's a great player. He's an intense player. He's got that Raider mentality, the attitude that you hear us talking about, okay? And in that vein, to me, he's the offensive version of Max Crosby.
Exactly.
The motor,
exactly.
the intensity, the attitude. You know, I want to ask you, when it comes to Jackson Powers, as the type of intense player he is and what have you, the leadership part, how does he incorporate that? Because I think he can also be a leader. What I mean is in the locker room. And of course, we are thinking about the Dave Dalbys and Jim Ottos.
Right.
He's not that by far yet.
Right.
But he has that attitude.
Right.
What do you think can make him a leader, though?
I mean, he could be, but he's being held back by his coach.
Think so?
Absolutely. Pete Carroll.
Because I think he get in some of his teammates' faces. Because he gets in faces of fucking opponents. I think he wants
to, but like he has his offensive coordinator coming out and saying, "Oh, he's got a big head." Why are you saying that?
What's that supposed to mean?
What is that supposed to mean?
He's got a big head. Big head out.
Right.
That he's confident.
Right. That he's confident. That he wants to win. You know that he.
Or what do you want? One of these soft woke ass motherfuckers?
Exactly. That's what they want.
That we don't let infiltrated our conservative little compound that the Raiders call themselves running over there at 1410 or whatever the fucking address is. Anyway.
He's the best offensive lineman that they have right now. And he's sitting
second best Raider.
He got a concussion and but he came back to replace him. Yeah. But then they keep playing with him when it comes to starting. They won't commit to him. Now he's gonna start today, but I think they're gonna have him at guard instead of center. He needs to move around and get out there. That's fine, but either way, he needs to be playing each game. And there is an issue with Pete Carroll and his linemen and his offensive line coach, his son, that maybe his attitude just isn't, up to par. And he is a leader, so they're tamping him down. They're trying to water him down and suppressing his energy.
Yeah, but that ain't what we need here. Again.
Well, we've got the same. Here we go again with this leadership that is not representative of the organization.
Or what the organization should be representing in the eyes of some of our long-standing fans who believe that when it comes to the Raiders, that template that was set by that man behind us, what we grew up on in Oakland and what many of you grew up watching too, still works because there are other teams using our vibe and using our template, and that the Raiders and that the administration just has a watered-down mentality, and dare I say soft.
Yeah.
When it comes to their thinking and their football ideology and IQ. And so again, I think it's all being prepped, like I've said many times in the show, since Tom Brady came on as a limited partner, that he will eventually, get a chance to buy this team and will end up majority owner at some point. But until then, I wish the impetus would be for this team to, recapture its identity. And Pete Carroll knows what it is. But, he's compromised too. You know what I'm saying?
All of them are working for the NFL, okay? This is what's going on. And it's a sabotage from the beginning, and it has been. They are insistent on sticking it to King Al, which I will always...
But it has nothing to do with what Mark Davis does, though. Unless he's complicit. And
he's complicit.
Mark Davis, more than anything, is just not a football savvy strategist from an administrative standpoint. He's proven that. He made some good moves, bringing Chucky back was a good move. Not standing by Chucky was a bad move that showed that he didn't have that fight in him, and the integrity, to stand on the laurels of something he had decided to do that was for the betterment of his football team. And so, when you acquiesce like that, then everything else becomes questionable. But, we're not that far removed, as many people may want to think, from Oakland and from the presence of the Raiders still being relevant in the NFL on football related matters. and from a football-related schematic. You know what I'm saying?
There's nobody in that organization that is down for the Raider way. And that's what I see. Until that changes, I'm stuck here. And I'm going to be right here in Oakland with the Raider history.
Oakland mentality.
The Oakland mentality. I can't do this. I can't do allowing teams to come here and we lose for them. And then our home field advantage is whacked with all the fans from the other teams. Right. I mean, this is just like a tourist spot and they're just an attraction.
Like I was saying, the Washington Generals of the NFL, or more, up to date, the firefighters, the banana baseball of the NFL. They're just as a proxy. And everything is factored in around the package, the vacation, and despite the great exaggeration of Las Vegas' death, Las Vegas, we're alive and well, baby! VGK! What's happening on the Strip ain't got shit to do with the rest of the city. It's not the only industry in town, baby. So, it's greatly exaggerated. Vegas ain't dead. The Strip may be mortally wounded, but everything else is going down, man. And again, including the losing of the professional football team, 5-year-old Las Vegas Raiders. In Indianapolis today, a game that could be a win. Turn Max loose. It's good to see Tyree Wilson, the draft pick from a couple years ago from up the way to Utah, or wherever he came from, the defensive end, getting some play. Malcolm Coates out there, linebacker that I liked a few years ago. He's really been plugged in defensively. Yeah. And, the DBs are playing, they're playing above what was expected, but they could be tighter. All in all, going up against Daniel Jones, Coach lost last week, there is an opportunity today defensively to really get after him. I mean, they're healthy, though, with Jonathan, they're running back like Jonathan, Taylor? Jonathan,
I can't help you.
Yeah, I forget his name. But anyway, he's back. And they've got some solid wide receivers. For the Raiders, Brock Bowers is out today at tight end. He won't be playing.
And that's what Geno Smith said. We got to get Brock Bowers involved somehow. It's like, dude, we know that. It should be a 2 tight end formation. It should be, a sweep. Yes, he can do all of that. But you've got to get him the ball. And you want to talk about, I've got to get him involved in the game.
Choke, Geno. He looks like this popular podcaster in the hip-hop world named Joe No Choke. That's how I see Geno Smith. He's got the same kind of like, they ain't smell around here. Look what they say when it's them.
Right.
Anyway, smell yourself, Geno. Geno Intercepto. But again, the Colts, solid team. They're healthy. But the Raiders are a team, like I said, who are not out of games so much as they end up in the end not being able to close them, or offensively there's a breakdown in the second half, and they keep it conservative, or the other team just gets ahead of them where the defense can't hold it. But this is a game that they could win, and have to go out and just, like I said, offensively, Trey Tucker, what you got with Genty, this is a day to run. He'll be on turf, his speed, pray he doesn't get injured and all that, but he's the speed on that turf, on that surface there. This would be a good game for that. Get him out in the flat, he can catch, some swing passes, some tailback pitches to him, and let him get out in space. That's what has to happen again. Get them big linemen moving downfield, man. And like I said, you're not going to hear this before the game, but you got to be a call to incorporate the Raiders powerhouse suite that was legendary in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s with Marcus Allen, and into the 2000s with Tyree Whitney and Charlie Garner. So, go Raiders, and I hope it's a passing exhibition. I'm sure it will. Daniel Jones and them are going to take, their chances. The Colts will. And, the Raiders, for the most part, you bought into Geno Smith. Some quarterbacks can throw their way out of their slumps or out of their, problems.
They can throw themselves further into
it. You don't have confidence that Geno can break out of this?
I think we said this in the beginning of the first game of the season, actually preseason I was talking about this. No, this is not the future. And it's the same thing with him. You know, every time he plays, eventually he'll be hurt, you know, or, you know, he'll just continue to throw these interceptions until somebody finally tags him out of his game. Now, yes, I want to be positive and all of that, but I'm not Mark McGuire. I don't have any positivity for you right now. So it is what it is, and they have to do what they do. I'm always going to root for them. And, you know, of course I want Gino to succeed. I don't want him to fail. I'm just looking at his history and what's happened before. And I don't know if he can turn that around, if he has the confidence to do that, if he's strong enough to pull it off, you know, or if he's going to fall.
And if he can come up with, some type of, you know, playbook, you know, adjustments. You know, that favorite Gino, but also favor the offense as a whole. You're down there without Bowers, but it's trying to incorporate Myers. He's back healthy. And we got a game last week. Trey Tucker, like I said, in the wing along with Myers. And again, imagination. The looks offensively got to be, you know, different than just the basic, you know, 3 wide, you know, and single back formation that anybody can read and fill the box on defensively and just sit on it. You know, and so. You know, and then some explosiveness. You got to be tempo offensively. That motor that Powers has, you can get 53 of him and Max Crosby, guys like that, then you be doing something, man. And that intensity, instead of suppressing it, is what needs to be being taught throughout the whole team. You know, and defensively, there is some intensity, there is some active, you know, aggression and physicality. So, like I said, this is a good game for them to try to get off on Daniel Jones, classic play-action quarterback, like some of the other ones we named off earlier. The NFL is really swaying back to that. We grew up on in the 70s, play-action, in the 80s, play-action quarterbacking offense. So, you know, more blitzes, more stunts, and go after his ass. You know what I'm saying? Bring pressure. And this may be a game that the defense would have to win for the Raiders. Offensively, I have confidence that Geno Smith will be what he's proven himself to be. The Black Italian Interceptor King. Gino Interceptor. Okay, I mean, you know, I give him under 3 today. Under 3 today. In a related story, another quarterback.
In Indianapolis. There's somebody in the chat room.
Who turned out to be trash. What's up, chat?
It's Matt with 2 T's. It's Matt with 2 of them. What's up, Matt? I know that we were talking about technology, right?
Oh, yeah, right.
What's up, and Sam? What's up?
Sam in the house, the legend.
He says he's been calling him Jimmy Gino.
Jimmy Gino, that's a good one.
Matt with 2 T's says, Rob, Stef, you guys look good. Where is the Hobbit? The House of Elf, the dude who doing Stone. What's up, Matt with 2 T's?
He's out helping, man. He's caught up with his music, man. His 2 bands, and they're really both busy, which is good for him. I've been busy last month or so. Did the Nevada Cannabis Awards last week. He had to run that. He was on stage for 12 hours, producing and organizing that, and had put all the bands together, and had some cool that, and then played with 2 bands, and then he did the Oz tribute a couple weeks prior to that. So it's just busy, man. Out in the desert hustling, you know, how we do now. The Hobbit hustling. No.
We got to give you a wrench, Matt with 2 T's, so that you can be in here like chatting, because our chat room cop is on hiatus, so it's time to get back to that.
We don't do a lot of lives, man. I mean, we've been having some issues, you know, behind the scenes when it comes to just our content and YouTube and what they, you know, let us get away with, so to speak. What have the algorithm plays tricks with notifications don't always go out. So some of our audiences fell off, but we're trying to reboot it up too, man, and get everything back on the one. So we appreciate everybody and anybody that's coming fucking with us and all that. Anyway, so the next 5 games for the Raiders, we talk about the future, look at the future. Oh, back to the story. So Mark Sanchez, another, you know, mediocre quarterback in his day, overhyped for the University of Spoiled Children. He got his ass beat and then stabbed somebody maybe in Indianapolis on Saturday night or Friday night, Saturday morning, whatever it was. Some misadventure on those pretty hard streets of Indianapolis, that town. Shout out Mike Epps. So yeah, he's not going to be calling the game. And it's funny, I've been watching some of the sports shows this morning, and they're not really talking about it. You know, kind of shied away from talking about that subject or whatever. But yeah, man, you know, he got himself stabbed, and then he got arrested. So it's like, what kind of laws they got in Indianapolis? You can be in a scenario where there was a stabbing or multiple stabbings, yet you come out of that. You were a victim. You're also a suspect, and they're only misdemeanor charges.
Well, from what I understand, it really was Sanchez, you know, and Marcus had some issues before. I don't know if that with 2 T's or Sab, if you remember that. I mean, even the hot dog incident, there were some other things that were happening with Mark Sanchez.
Right.
You know, they were kind of off. Right. You know, so in this situation, he probably was drunk in a bar. The guy's truck was like blocking him. It was like a you know, when you pick up used grease, restaurants.
Right.
He was coming to do that and blocked his car in. And so he went up to him through the window and started like this altercation.
Why are you driving in Indianapolis anyway? You're not from Indianapolis. You're from fucking LA.
Right.
Or wherever you're from.
Well, he ended up sitting in the bar when the cops came and got him, and he was stabbed. He looked. The guy said, this guy's trying to kill me. Talking about Mark Sanchez.
Oh, wow.
You know, he's a 69-year-old man that was doing the delivery. And so here we go. Mark Sanchez was the aggressor, is what the charges look like for him.
Well. You don't want to mess around in Indiana. Remember Mike Tyson got, 7, 8 years for that incident back in the day?
Yeah.
In that hotel, the alleged, poke without consent incident.
Right.
Everybody's on here saying, great, but it's rape. And I'm sure I'm going to, all right, but that's probably the end of the show. All right. I'm sorry, YouTube. Forgive me. What do you want me to do, man? I can't censor language, man. We can all speak freely, can't we?
No,
I mean, if the president can, why can't the rest of us?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
He's the only one that can speak freely.
Around the league real quick. The Dolphins, the Jets, the Tennessee Titans, the friggin' Browns, and a couple other teams. Cardinals. They all suck. Okay? Much like the Las Vegas Raiders. They stink. They suck. And, on the other side of the coin, though, there are some interesting games this weekend. I mean, Cowboys are playing favorably. Philadelphia is representing. Seattle, surprisingly, playing real well. Got a balance up there. What they're doing. The Chargers look good. But today, for week 5, the Giants and the Saints, Jackson Dart, just brought a spark to New York last week. Like I said, a guy that I, was talking about 2 years ago, who I was hoping the Raiders would have been after. And some of you others, like I said, just power base that we got on the social media, some of you Raider fans would have picked up on that and been pushing for that too. You got to push this team. If there are players out there you see, or there are scenarios where a trade or anything, get on the social media, man, and bombard this team and bombard the public space of sports with what you want for your Raiders, man. Right. You know what I'm saying? The Pat McAfee shows, all these shows. Go on these shows and talk shit about the Raiders. That's how I got popular back in the day in the Bay. Everything was about the fucking Niners and all that. I'd get on there talking about the Raiders, and disrupt that bullshit. And even though the Raiders were still in LA when I was really first getting down being Raider Rob and forming this, radio personality of myself. But yeah, you guys got all these different devices now, Twitch and Itch and friggin', YouTube or the BitChute, I don't know. Wherever you're talking sports, IG, all that shit, man. You guys got to break yourselves and shake yourselves out of this thing of just accepting this bullshit that this team is putting out here. Because for those of you who can go to the game live, you're getting ripped off, man. The house always wins in Vegas, but this is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Don't just give your money to the house. If you ain't getting a return, somebody got to come around once in a while and, grab a tit or shake a nut or give me a free drink or something. Anyway, I missed the review. Texans, Ravens. Ravens got to bounce back. They were highly talented this year. They're healthy again with Lamar Jackson to be going places. Hit a mirage too. And had, of course, great offense, always known to have a stellar beginning of the season. Tough, stout defense and all, and kind of fell off the last couple of weeks, but they're playing the lowly Texans, so we'll see what happens when the Texans have imploded down there with C.J. Stroud and DeMarco Ryans and what have you.
Who cares about the under 31?
I'm only picking out like 4 or 5. The Lions, who I've got playing the Bills in the Super Bowl this year. I won blue collar, small town Super Bowl.
We're gonna try this again.
I'm giving the Lions and the Bills this year. This is it.
All right.
I've been following Josh Allen since he was up in Wyoming. And so I want to see him through. I like Dan Campbell, what he did. He was talking about getting violent. What I was talking about before the season started.
No excuses.
Yeah, maybe Show 54 will put that clip up there. But I was talking about violence.
Bye, Matt.
And he came out talking about violence. You're ready to go watch that bullshit.
Yeah.
Hey, yes, I'll be right behind you. I'm going to be sitting watching the bull crap too. Anyway, going with the Lions to be in the Super Bowl against the Bills, or either the Rams and the Bills. And then the Patriot-Bills game tonight should be a good one. Just the fact, again, the Bills off to a great start. Josh Allen, all of them, they're playing.
4-0.
Yeah, they're 4-0. And the Patriots are playing decent, but they're playing in New England. And it'd be great to see the Bills for that whole rivalry that's been for years. Get a win and really up their confidence beating the Patriots at Gillette Stadium. Anyway, Puff Diddy, the impresario of rap music and king sampler and the motherfucker that bought out shiny suits in hip-hop. From Harlem, uptown, above 110th Street, baby. Sentenced to 4 years in his little debacle that he's been going through with the sex exploitation and the trafficking and the whole other stuff. 2 of those 4 major charges he was facing, of course, got dropped last month or a month or so ago during his trial, which ended. But now his sentencing fade, and he was sentenced to 4 years in the feds. Having done Fed time myself, he'll probably end up in a low
radio exclusive.
He'll probably end up in a low low capacity place. Maybe a Danbury in Connecticut. Maybe they'll send him down to Florida or Kentucky. There was a nice low down in Kentucky. That whole kind of not so much club fed, because being in prison ain't nothing club about it. You know, you can put your imagination there and make it comfortable if you got the means. But incarceration is incarceration. Right. Okay, so that club fed shit's a myth.
I hope he does get somewhere light, considering, Ghislaine Maxwell, who was a sordid sex trafficker for years and years and years, is now found herself in a low, which she shouldn't be with the kind of crimes that she committed. Right. And with the ability to go, out to work, which eventually she's probably going to go out and never come back. So, but he's got 4 years, so he's already been in too. Is that count?
His lawyers will work on possibly trying to get some type of time served. The feds don't quite work like state prisons with that. There are circumstances where you can get time served, but for the most that you can ask for with a break with the feds is being sent to a low capacity prison, and you get 85%. You do 85% of your time. If he was to get time served, he'd probably be looking at no more than maybe 8 months to a year left in prison. Either way it goes, he'll probably be out in 2, 2 at the most, sometime early 2027, maybe.
You didn't get what R. Kelly got, which is 35,
Yeah. They said R. Kelly said. So there will be a, Puff Diddy return, and God bless him. You know what I'm saying? All I can say, in the feds, you've been doing that little MTC detention center time, but when you get to the yard, it's a different vibe, man. You're going to be a celebrity and all that, and what have you. So there will be challenges. There will be people trying to get at you. You're going to be in there with more predominantly a population of inmates who are 20 years your senior, in some cases 30 years your senior, and they're going to be wild, and acting a fool. So, the best thing to do is find, some mugs from where you from, get in that car, just chill, keep that profile of yourself down low, get creative, maybe start writing a book like Rick James did when he was incarcerated, and some others have done. Chuck Berry, was writing some stuff for his autobiography while he was locked down, and Johnny Cash famously. So, Martin Luther King, write.
You're nothing like Martin Luther King.
No, I wasn't saying that. I was just saying,
okay, I don't need to hear your book because you've been out there running your mouth on video, dancing, just like Suge Knight said. So No, I don't need to get a book.
Shout out Suge Knight.
Shout out Suge. I don't need no book from Diddy, okay? I don't like to see anybody locked down, but hey, you know, he did what he did and said what he said and made some of the others, Spielberg's, very upset. And so as a result, you know, he's going through it.
So this has been RaiderFan.
RaiderFan Radio.
Hey, so we get out of here real quick. The next 5 games, if everything goes well today or doesn't, for you to look forward to. They were talking about the future a few moments ago. The Titans, who are terrible, 0-4. So feel sorry for Cam Ward. He has no offensive line down there, and he has no receivers, and he's just a man on an island by himself. He's already been sacked, 25 times in 5 weeks. He's going through it down there. That could be
good for him.
That could be a win to look forward to for the Raiders.
Yes.
If they can stay healthy, get Bowers back next week. And then they'll be in Kansas City October 19th. Boo! Fuck the Chiefs! All right? Shout out Margarita back in the Bay Area in Oakland. Black Hole alumnus. The Jags, November 2nd in LV. My boy, the blonde bomb. I might just have to.
Might just have to go to the stadium, huh?
Well, maybe to a bar close by and watch it on TV. Maybe that's the closest I could get, unless someone throws me a ticket. I may go in there.
RaiderHater Rob has witnessed tons of opportunities to go into that game, into the stadium, but he has declined.
Standing on principle, baby. Can't hate you and love you at the same time. I don't want to be in your fucking house either. And then the Broncos, after the Jags, and then the Cowboys will come to town November 17th to the Dead Star. It ain't a death, it's dead in that motherfucker. Okay, where is the nation? Home, washing their tights. I mean, really, you got to do something promotional-wise, man. I'm telling you, Mark, get something out of this shit before you sell the team. I know you're infinitely rich. You're on the verge of your Aces possibly winning another WNBA championship. Go Aces, go Asian, all the ladies out there. But, man, I don't know, dude. Like, you were gifted. I wish I was you. That's all I can say. I'm done. It is what it is so far. And so go Raiders today. The first quarter started. We're going to run off and go watch the game up at South Point or something like that. And all of you out there, man, stick and stay. Anyway, partying. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't want to go ahead.
Partying is such sweet sorrow, but it is time to go. And we'll see you at show 54. Make sure you do like, share, and subscribe. And please comment. We love seeing Matt with 2 T's comments, Sav's comments.
Oh, yeah.
Sav's
all of you
comments,
out there. Yes.
all of you out there. And it's been an issue getting them posted. I'm going to look back into that with YouTube. There should be more, I'm sure. But we will see. We shall see.
We get fucked with just like the Raiders. Flags be getting thrown on us and shit.
Yeah.
Erroneous penalties.
18 and over codes, all kinds of things.
Whole, space of internet television. But we love you too. Thank you. Thank you for the platform. We appreciate you and all that you do for the great wide world of video producers, content creators, entertainers, performers, and personalities. Anyway, later, Raider.
Later, Raider. See y'all.